What is up, YouTube? Third Impact here to review episode 11 of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders, The Emperor and the Hanged Man, Part 2. Now, how the last episode ended without any end credits, this one begins without any opening credits, so right away, you know that they have a lot that they need to cram into this episode, and that it's just going to be action-packed. So, where we left off last week, Avdol's just been killed in cold blood right in front of Polnareff. Very, very emotional scene as Avdol was coming to save Polnareff, yet he was reckless and ended up getting him killed. So, Hol Horse is trash talking, saying, oh, I guess that's how it goes in life, just happens quick, you don't usually get a chance to say goodbye. At the same time, Centerfold is talking crap too about how he murdered his sister and all this sort of stuff. So Polnareff is just fuming. He is gathering an aura around himself, but Kakyoin is trying to get him to calm down. And it makes sense how difficult it is for Polnareff to stay calm at this moment. Not only was his friend just stabbed in the back, but this guy also killed his little sister, and he has him right here. He's there. He's ready to fight. So Kakyoin is trying to tell him to, to just back off. We got to escape in this car. The whole thing is we don't know exactly how their abilities work. And this is what Avdol was trying to warn you about. So if you don't want Avdol to have died in vain, we got to get out of here right now. But Centerfold's trash talking, Hol Horse is trash talking, and Centerfold's now using mirrors, the reflection in glass, puddles, to slowly kind of creep up on Polnareff while trash talking. And the only way Kakyoin can think of getting them out of this situation is actually Emerald splashing Polnareff, knocking him down, because he can still knock him out of the range of Centerfold. And he comes by Kakyoin and grabs Polnareff in the car right after he knocks him over, and they escape, presumably. Polnareff's trying to apologize and whatnot for being all reckless, and Kakyoin just elbows him right in the face, and he's like, consider this your apology, like, consider this our handshake, now I know that we're good. Sort of like a bit of a punishment for being so reckless and getting their friend killed. But Avdol is just left out on the streets. Obviously, Kakyoin and Polnareff have to make a quick escape, but Jotaro and Joseph come across the body later, and it's a very solemn scene. But Kakyoin and Polnareff continue to drive when Kakyoin notices the reflection of Centerfold in the mirrors in the front of his car, so he has to act quick. He crashes the car because, again, Centerfold is there within the world of this reflection, but they can still escape from him. But in these sort of moments, Polnareff's starting to realize how Centerfold's ability works, and it is by jumping from reflection to reflection. That's how he can move around so fast. That's how he can appear to be in all of these places. So as long as there's a reflection for Centerfold to jump to, he can follow them pretty much anywhere. So they quickly leave the car. They're out completely far away from it now. They're out in the desert, so it's like, we should be good now. When this little kid walks up and he's like, oh, you guys okay? You look injured? And Centerfold is now in the reflection of this kid's eyes, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? And Centerfold's, again, he's just trash talking, taunting him, saying, the only way that you can get me now is to poke this kid's eyes out. I know you don't have the guts, all of this stuff. But Polnareff realizes even further how his ability works, and that is that he is forced to jump to another reflective surface once the reflective surface that he's on has been destroyed or closed off. Which is kind of strange, because what if there really wasn't another reflective surface to jump to? Kind of weird to think about, but Polnareff realizes that once this kid's eyes close, he has to jump to the next reflective surface, or the only one that he can see, and that's through Polnareff's eye. So he kicks dirt into this kid's face, and Centerfold's forced to go to Polnareff's eyes, and since he can judge the trajectory, he slices him, and he finally gets a hit on this guy who we've thought has just been untouchable for such a long time. We hear a scream of agony coming from the distance, and they go to investigate what it is. So Polnareff and Kakyoin happen upon who we suspect to be the injured Centerfold. But at the same time, we didn't really get that good a look at him last episode, because when he was talking to Hol Horse, his face was all darked out. But Kakyoin quickly notices that he only has one right hand. And at this exact moment, a knife is thrown into the back of Polnareff. And this is also right when it cuts to a commercial break. So this episode is just so intense, and this little back and forth just continues to escalate and escalate. It's like, when is this going to end? Like, the Centerfold's pretty crazy. Right when we get back from this, he's still very, very confident as a horde of beggars begins to surround Kakyoin and Polnareff, asking for change in a very similar way to the previous episode when they first arrived in India. Except this time, Centerfold is obviously there, and he's using the reflections in the eyes of all of these beggars to bounce all over the place, and Kakyoin and Polnareff are completely defenseless, unable to judge where he's going to be bouncing next, while Centerfold just slowly slashes them and picks away at them. But then, in this moment, Kakyoin says he's now going to avenge Avdol, and he pulls out a coin, and this part is just so badass because it's so perfect and so simple, but from what we've learned and how this stand works, this is the perfect way to deal with him. We already know that once the trajectory is known, Polnareff is able to cut Centerfold. The only problem is that when there's too many reflective surfaces, he's unable to do this. So they figure out which guy has Centerfold stand within the reflection, and Kakyoin tosses the coin up in the air so that everybody is looking at the exact same fixed point, the only reflective surface being the coin, and Polnareff kicks dirt into this guy's eye. The trajectory must be right from his eye to the coin. Polnareff slashes his face, and now Centerfold's really panicking. He's running to this gate, he's trying to get out, but it's locked, he can't do it. And this is where Polnareff literally sentences him to death and just gets his sweet, sweet revenge. It's so brutal, and it's a good guy just straight up enacting his revenge on this guy, now pretty much defenseless from his injuries. But this guy has just proven himself, like many villains in Jojo, to be just the most despicable slime ball. So ridiculously over the top in how evil this guy is that just you really don't feel any remorse for him whatsoever, as Polnareff just pierces and stabs and slashes him into the air and over the gate. But as he falls, his foot or leg actually gets stuck on the gate, and he's hanging there upside down. And Kakyoin makes a comment of oh, so this is the true Hanged Man, is it? And I thought that was really good. So Kakyoin and Polnareff return to the town, where they run into Hol Horse yet again. And Hol Horse is very confident. He is saying he's finally caught up to them and how screwed they are. And he keeps ending his sentences with things like, "Isn't that right, Centerfold?" Because, him and Centerfold always work as a combo. And he's shooting bullets around, just sort of screwing around, waiting for Centerfold to make his move. But Polnareff and Kakyoin are like, "We killed Centerfold." And Hol Horse is like, no, that's impossible. Centerfold's unbeatable. I have no idea how I would even go about doing that. It's just not possible. And Polnareff's like, well, you can go check out that little area over there. His body's there. You can go take a look. And he's like, all right, maybe I will. And he just books it and runs away. He talks about how, he's fine with being number 2 as long as it means he can survive. So he wants to get the hell out of there. Not very confident in his abilities on their own. He says he needs to have somebody to work off of with his abilities. But as he turns a corner, he gets a swift punch to the face by Jotaro. And he's sort of on the ground, doesn't really know what to do, surrounded by Joseph, Jotaro, Kakyoin, and Polnareff now. And they're like, well, Centerfold might have stabbed Avdol in the back, but the cause of death was Hol Horse's bullet, so we gotta do something about this. And he's freaking out. And Polnareff sentences this guy to death as well. He's about to do it, when this girl who we saw in the episode prior, Hol Horse had a relationship with her, and she wanted to commit herself fully to Hol Horse. She grabs Polnareff and pulls him to the ground and says she doesn't know what's going on, but that she loves Hol Horse and he needs to escape. So Hol Horse quickly takes this chance to get the hell out of there. I don't know why nobody else acted on this and tried to stop him, but this happened all very quickly. Polnareff took it upon himself to do this and then failed, so, whatever. And he gets away, whatever. Hol Horse is a bit of a coward, but I'm sure we'll be seeing him again. Joseph acknowledges the fact that Avdol has been buried. It was a very quick burial, but it is done. Avdol's body is buried and they are leaving. But as you can see at the very, very end of the episode, it has something to do with this girl's blood that tackled Polnareff and Joseph mending to her wounds. He has a little sore on his arm or something like that that opens up a mouth at the end of the episode and laughs very creepily. So, no idea, what's up with that. And that'll be the next episode, the Empress, according to the preview. So, again, I know I've been ranking some of these episodes of JoJo as far as favorites go, and again, this episode, I don't know, it's hard. It's a hard toss-up between part 1 and part 2, between Centerfold's death and Avdol's death. Both of those moments, the lead-up, everything about them was crazy. So I can't really say quite yet, but another amazing episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders. Hope you guys enjoyed, and please stay tuned for more. Peace.